Good morning and welcome back to another video, and today is another day of the 0 to Gold Cap Challenge. Now just stick around and enjoy the video. Okay, so today we are going to be going over why I love Transmog and also going through the gold for the week. So that being the case, let's just go through what I've actually done first and then we can actually go through all of that. Now originally this week I was going to farm the Temple of Atul Hakar. Now I didn't actually do this due to the fact that basically within the Worth It add-on we do have this thing called the Transmog section, and the Transmog section actually doesn't equivalate that well. Basically it was done on the old metric of the beta testers brought this to my attention. As a testing version of the Transmog module it worked rather okay, but there were some discrepancies within this. This was obviously based upon this, and basically how it calculated it was originally it was going to calculate on how frequently something would drop. So let's just say if you had a chance of getting something pretty much every time you did a run, that would be included in there. Basically if you could only squeeze in 7 runs, you would only get 7 of that item, and that's how it basically calculated it at first. Now I've taken the decision to overview this and completely overhaul all of the backlogs of the entire module, and basically when Worth It gets reintroduced in its version 4, that means it's actually going to completely gut and reset all of the Transmog module with actual farming, with the actual farming statistics done and recorded through the recorder, of course. And that being the case, me and some of the beta testers are actually running through all of these old dungeons to actually try and see if we can get hold of any of the relevant data. We actually need to update the data logs in order to see which ones actually drop quite frequently and which ones overall are going to give us the best gold per hour, and then we can calculate it off of the average. So that's how we're basically going to be doing it going forward, by actually using real Transmog farms on this, like how we always do with all of the other farms that are basically the original set ones. So obviously the farming one is actually done by actual people who have actually farmed this, and they've all pulled together to find the average for how many you get per hour. We're now doing that with the Transmog module to make it more accurate going forward. So basically I've been consumed with that, and I've been going through some of the actual dungeons. Some of the other beta testers have actually been running through some of the other dungeons as well, and basically it's just trying to find the average of what you get per hour. So that being the case, open up my mobile banking and all you'll see is a few more lock boxes and a load of new Transmog to come in with this. I've done a variety of different things, such as like the Blackwater Cutlass and all that stuff from the Dead Mines and all that jazz. The map results are quite varied, so to speak. So basically we got quite a lot of different types of Transmogs on this, and that's what I've been doing this week. I've mainly been focusing on redesigning the entire Transmog module, to put it simply, so to make it more accurate for when Worth It gets reintroduced with its latest version. So then hopefully you guys can get a more accurate result on how you're best going to go about doing this in the future. Now, that being the case, let's get into the gold for the day. Okay, so that being the case, let's get into the gold for the day for Transmog, as we do pretty much every Sunday. And we've sold 27,364 golds worth of basically stuff. So we sold the Arcanite Reaper plans. That's pretty cool. We got that from the lower Blackrock Spire for 4,290 gold. Load of low tier Transmog. We sold a Steadfast leg plate of the Aurora for 1,901 gold. We sold Hand of Edward the Odd for 4,572 gold. And we also sold Buccaneer's Robes of Fire Flash for 2,310 gold. We also sold a Plans of Sulfuron Hammer, which basically you go into the Grim Guzzler and you just basically give in this Sulfuron ingot, and it's a once per character thing. Maybe I'll overview that once again so you guys can see it once again in action. So what I'll do now is I'll just take a 16 gold thing so it makes it 100 males, so we can get that last one to come through. So we also sold quite a few other different types of things going forward, just loads of low tier Transmog, but equaling in up to a healthy amount. So really happy with like 27,519 gold for transmog this week, and that's with just under 1,000 transmogs on the auction house. So very, very low amount of transmog I'm actually selling, and we're making a decent amount. So I'm not going to be overly too worried about all of this. I will, however, send over a load of gold over to Giblet in a second once we finish pulling in all of our mails, and then we can then go ahead and do that. So that's one thing that I will be doing. It's just an easier way in order to go with that. So therefore we can then see how much gold we've actually got, and then we can actually sell that on. So that's pretty damn good. Now, that being the case, we are currently on our transmog tomb at 49,002 gold. That's pretty damn good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab 40,000 gold, and then I'm going to send that over to Giblet, and then we can see what the overview for the week actually is. So then all I've got to do is, we've still got 9,000 in our bags. We can run over to our auction house guy to see how many transmogs we've actually got. We've got 966, so we need more, 1.1 million gold worth of transmog on the auction house. So let's go over to Giblet for our final valuation of the gold for the week. And for our final tally is 62,771 gold, including the 40,000 we sent over from our transmog. So let's pull that in. That's kind of nice. That's really, really nice right there. So really it's 22,771 gold on all of our material stuff, because obviously we've been focusing on transmog. So that's where all our gold's mainly going to be coming from. So the things of note for this one is Eternal Shadow 35 for 1,324 gold. Fell Hide 1,498 gold for 13. We also sold a Highborn Compendium of Swirling Tires for 1,453 gold. The Shimmer Seal Diving Suit, 30 of those for 1,813 gold. We also sold a Masterful Sea Current, 97 for 1,635 gold. Glyph of Fallow Wings, 4 of those for 1,847 gold. We sold a Flying Machine for 1.5k, Uncanny Combatant Sorcerer Scepter for 1.8k, Flying Machine once again for 1.5k, and then another Flying Machine for 1.5k. So that's really good. I'm going to pull that in right now. So over 60k worth of gold for basically the week. Obviously my mind is a bit elsewhere just with worth it and everything. So we're still pulling in a sizable amount at this moment in time, so I'm really damn happy with the way things are going. Obviously I've noticed a massive drop in the amount of sales for just general selling at the moment on my server and a few of my other servers. So I don't know if this is the same for you guys, but not a lot of people are buying stuff at the moment, which is kind of hard. So that is one thing that we may want to bear in mind moving forward. Now, the thing of note is we are at 1,419,888 gold. So I'm really damn chuffed with all that. That's really awesome. And we're actually bringing our gold value up to quite a decent amount of gold overall. So that being the case, let's go over why I love transmog. Originally I used to actually do transmog selling quite a lot, and this was originally on Thunderhorn EU. Now this was my original server back from when I ever started, and pretty much I've been selling transmog ever since transmog got introduced into the game. And that being the case, what I've actually been doing is I've always liked the idea of transmog, mainly because it is very captivating on how it actually makes gold, so to speak. Now you can always farm up gathering materials and all of that stuff. That's pretty cool. You can get a hefty amount of gold if you're willing to put in the time and the effort. Now the thing with transmog is you can have some really good weeks and you can have some really bad weeks depending on the types of items you are actually farming up. Now this revolves around drop chance and also the time that you invest into farming this stuff. The thing I love about transmog is I can actually relate this to like a clothing store. This is the premise of how it actually works, and we're going to put it into the space of like a clothing store. Now say you opened a clothing store and you sold one shirt, which was a black shirt, and that's all you sold. Now you're not going to get many people buying that regular shirt, and this is what actually got me into transmog. Now, you're selling a wide variety of this stuff, mainly like a clothing store. They provide you with loads of different appearances, such as transmog selling. And that means that loads of other people will be coming towards those different varieties, and they'll be picking the ones that they like. It's much like how a clothing store works. Now, what I enjoy actually doing is finding the ones that are actually worth a great deal and then selling those. I love the idea of transmog mainly because I can then relate it to something in the real world, and it just gets my mind going. Hence why I enjoy it so much, is mainly because it's the barrier to entry to get started is very low. All you need is like literally a level 100 if you really wanted to. Run a couple of old dungeons and there you go, presto, you've got some transmog. But the barrier to entry for actually getting regular sales is actually moderately high. This is because you're going to have to grind out at least like 2,000 auction items to actually pull in some sizable regular gold. This is the part in which I love, because I am very, very good at just putting my time into one particular area at a time and just completely focusing on that. I mainly enjoy doing something like that, and with the way in which I love the idea of how the economics of transmog work, it actually helps me get a grip on how it's actually selling and how it's actually producing. Basically, it works just like how a clothing store would work. You're selling multiple different appearances for different valuations, and what you're wanting to do is the more varieties you can actually post on the auction house is the amount of gold that you can actually increase on a regular basis. This is why different transmog farms give you different appearances and which ones will actually sell the best. This is why I tend to actually love a variety of different types of transmog farms, mainly because they give different appearances. Hence why some of the old world stuff sells really well and some of like the new end stuff sells well, because they look cool. And I love that aspect of it. Overall, I find transmog to be a fascinating, even like a little case study, so to speak. And you know what, I might actually go ahead and do that on how the economics of the transmog market work. I could actually do a video on that, on how that actually works overall. But simply put, it works like a clothing store, and I rather enjoy doing that. And with the easy barrier to entry to farm this stuff up, with the harder barrier to entry to actually gain regular sales, is a nice little bit of the competition aspect of where I am. Because if you're a subpar transmog farmer, you're not going to make a hell of a lot of gold. But if you really do put the effort in, you will make a lot of gold. It's much like having a small chain of clothing stores, and they're not going to pull in that much money. But then you could go towards something like Topshop or something, who sell a load of high-end appearances or transmog, and then they're going to be pulling in much more gold than they actually would. So you could take multiple different models for this. I prefer to take the more Walmart approach, where basically I will sell even the cheapest ones for a return, and that is because if I can sell more appearances and provide more variety of appearances, I will make more gold, and therefore that's why I sell loads and loads of transmog. I win with volume as opposed to quality, so to speak. Now, there are different types of methods in which you can actually farm up transmog by actually focusing on high-end ticket ones, but that's mainly hoping for a really good drop. Now, I like to take the approach of basically being able to provide a more variety or a bigger volume towards transmog, and my approach towards it is the more volume that I can actually produce, the more gold I will make, because more people will be searching for all those different appearances, and therefore it actually produces you with a hell of a lot more gold. The only barrier to entry for this one is you're going to have to farm a megaton, and you're not going to actually have to hope in getting that one particular drop. Now, that being the case, that is seemingly why I enjoy transmog so much. I find it to be an amazing way of my love for economics and my love for basically just gold making in general. So it just combines the two, and I'm just like, it's like my most favourite thing in the world. Hence why I love transmog. So hopefully that gives you guys a brief outlook on why I enjoy transmog so much. and why I think it's very favourable even now to actually start transmog farming. So overall, will I be doing transmog farming in the future? Yes, I will be. Basically, my entire idea towards transmog or approach is to actually get at least like 3,000 to 4,000 items on the auction house before Shadowlands hits, because then I can provide more of a variety when people hit max level in Shadowlands, and I'll already have that supply there, so then I can focus on the new Shadowlands expansion, herbs and glyphs and all that stuff, and let the transmog market just do its thing, and then I will start restocking after the massive boom of the new expansion is over, which is about 3 months after the expansion actually hits. So therefore, that is my approach going forward. Have an awesome rest of the day, guys, and I was really happy to actually talk to you guys about why I love transmog so much. Have an awesome rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be tomorrow.